So they're going in, they're
Fucking
ordering.
piece of shit didn't set up that goddamn webcam.
Please go to thealexshowstore.com. We have the great atomic defense, the strongest, greatest, concentrated of all the known herbs and compounds to boost your immune system. Everybody should be on it, especially this time of year. Boost your immune system, thealexshowstore.com.
While other networks lie to you about...
Chris, let's go to him live.
Fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
Is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory? Or are you in a position to submit for the record? I think it'd just be helpful for every one of these narratives for you to submit that maybe for the record. You said something about SNAP lunch. I was in the State House in North Carolina before I came here, and anytime I'd go visit an elementary school, the first thing I would do is go to the trash cans in the cafeteria. And what we have now are kids that are not eating the food because the dictates of the federal government have made it something that they don't want. But they say, well, it's a healthy alternative. It has processed materials in it, and it's not particularly attractive to them. So they throw it away. Trash cans full of food that these kids didn't eat. So then what do? They go eat snacks, or they go eat or they drink a sugared drink. The SNAP program, everything you've said about the SNAP program, I agree with. I think that we should be very, very strict about that, and it's going to make some people uncomfortable in the food
Fucking idiot has it pointed at the screen
segment.
instead of the
Produce healthy
fucking
foods
Lego.
that we can put in the SNAP program. That's the way to address it. But we also need to look at the school health program. I was PTA president 21, 22 years ago.
Let's leave the live coverage here. We'll go back to it, but I got a bunch of excerpts from the last few hours I want to get to now. But he's so knowledgeable, he's got his head totally in the game, that every subject they raise, he just dominates because he's smart. And this is what he does full time, is study big food, big agri, big medicine, big pharma, all of it. And he runs circles around.
So zoomed in.
The big takeaway of the last 2 hours is the establishment is crashing and burning. That is the time we are in history. And their lies are not working. And I would just say that Kennedy is dominating. Absolutely dominating. All right, I've got dozens of short clips here. And I've got his opening statement. We've got so much other news to hit today as well, and some huge guests that are going to be breaking down what's happening at the hearings. And also Trump's 9th day we're entering right now. He got sworn in 9 days ago. Right now is when he got sworn in, was 11:09 Central, 12:09 noon Eastern.
Oh, damn, so dog, is that your Tupperware?
9-day mark starting now. We're into day 9 right now, and just chronicling it is a full-time job in and of itself. But let's play clip 23, 25, and 26, back to back.
Today, Americans' overall health is in grievous condition. Over 70% of adults and a third of children are overweight or obese. Diabetes is 10 times more prevalent than it was during the 1960s. Cancer among young people is rising by 1 or 2% a year. Autoimmune diseases, neurodevelopmental disorders, Alzheimer's, asthma, ADHD, depression, addiction, and a host of other physical and mental health conditions are all on the rise, some of them exponentially. The health problems in this country that we must face honestly. And the first thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is to get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children. That's why I'm so grateful to President Trump for the opportunity to sit before you today and seek your support and partnership in this endeavor. My approach to administration HHS will be radical transparency. If members of this committee or other members of Congress want information, the doors are open. I've spent many years litigating against NIH and its sub-agencies. HHS and its sub-agencies, NIH, CDC, FDA, on FOIA issues, trying to get information that we, the taxpayers, paid for, and oftentimes getting back redacted copies after a year or 2 years of litigation. That should not be the case. And if Congress asks me for information, you will get it immediately.
Yeah, really, it's a guarantee of a big spotlight on everything which big food, big pharma, they do not want. Sanders is grilling him live right now. We're backing it up to the start of that. But first, let's go to a really important clip where he elaborates on the fact that we are the most unhealthy industrialized country in the world and getting worse by the day, all by design. Elon Musk tweeted today that this whole globalist agenda is to destroy civilization by design. I know I harp on that. He knows that. But we need to get everybody else understanding it. This is not incompetency. It's incompetent with their minions at the bottom, but it's very competently deployed, this whole post-industrial plan. You've got to address it for what it is to be able to face it and then dismantle it. They want to dismantle us. We're dismantling their plan to shut down human civilization. Here's Kennedy.
Yeah.
The United States has worse health than any other developed nation.
Yeah, the white
Yet
box.
we spend more on health care, at least double, and in some cases triple, as other countries.
Well, it's still, yeah,
Last year we spent
I guess so.
$4.8 trillion, not counting the indirect costs of missed work.
Yeah, it's soft kill. It's totally weighing us down, which is what COVID was meant to do, and the lockdowns to shut down human civilization. So the central banks genetically engineered bacteria
is what I'm doing. And if we don't solve that problem, Senator, all of the other disputes we have about who's paying, and whether it's insurance companies, whether it's providers, whether it's HMOs, whether it's patients. Or families, all of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking. Our 60% increase in Medicaid over the past 4 years is the biggest budget line now, and it's growing faster than any other. And no other nation in the world has what we have here. No other nation has a chronic disease. We have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. We had, during COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in a country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had a higher death count than any country in the world. And when CDC was asked why, they said it's because Americans are the sickest people on earth. The average person who died from COVID, American, had 3.8 chronic diseases.
That's right.
This is an existential threat economically to our military, to our health, to our sense of well-being.
Designed to do that.
And it is a priority for President Trump. And that's why he asked me to run the agency. And if I'm privileged to be confirmed, that's exactly what I'll do.
You're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And that's what the globalists said, Bertrand Russell and others back in the 40s. They said, we're going to diet injections and injunctions. We'll make a rebellion by the proletariat, meaning the common people in communist parlance, as futile as sheep rebelling against the practice of eating mutton, which is another name for sheep. Diet, injections, and injunctions. And Aldous Huxley, his brother, ran the UN UNESCO Global Eugenics Society, then changed the name of the Transhumanist Society, wrote in 61, Brave New World Revisited, a nonfiction book. He said, no, Brave New World that I wrote, he said in 31, was based on our plan to poison you and dumb you down so that you would never know what hit you. Read the book. He gave a speech at Berkeley when he was dying, right before he died, where he just bragged about it. So you read Brave New World and you go, God, we're your parents.
First term, I didn't expect.
I want to play a short exchange where he was asked by a Republican senator, are you a conspiracy theorist? And he explains that it's a term developed and used in the mid-1960s. Look it up. This has been a congressional testimony that came out in the Frank Church Senate investigation of the CIA and the deep state in the late 70s. It was declassified that the CIA developed the term to shut down discussions and questions of the assassination of John F. Kennedy and then his brother, who was winning the presidency, the nomination, and way ahead in the polls, Bobby Kennedy, his dad. Now, that's the rest of the story. But when he says this was created to shut down free thought, discussion, and debate, he's dead on. Think of that piece of history. Look, just type into a search engine, the CIA developed the term conspiracy theory, then through Operation Mockingbird gave it to the corporate national TV and the Washington Post, the New York Times, the LA Times, and they started using that term. Just, oh, we're not going to discuss all that known evidence of assassins and hitmen and LBJ and all the stuff that's come out now. And Trump in just a few weeks about to release the information. It takes 15 days under the law. And that's another thing we've been proven right about, total vindication. And Oliver Stone, and of course, Jim Garrison, vindicated. Here is Kennedy, who I predict will be confirmed to HHS.
Well, I got a real quick question for you. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection. When the government was telling people, Americans,
Doesn't know what a calculator is. He's the smart, he's the intellectual of the left. That's how bad
You're
things
right.
are. So guys, come at us with something good.
No, I agree, because that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and if our enemy is just a blob, that will cause us to be stagnant. But there's enough problems around the world to keep our head in the game. And I would say, ask that question and this statement in closing, which is really important. You had a lot of this pageantry and a lot of, it's like the school prom every day at Mar-a-Lago, and I'm not against that, and people like it, and Trump understands that to have a community. But this is a war. And so, Governor Nome up there is the new DHS head with her hair all beautiful and the body armor in New York and everything. I mean, the left is kind of right that that's cosplaying, and it takes away from the real Border Patrol that's getting shot and getting killed and in gun battles every day with the Mexican cartels. So I do think the danger is we win so much culturally, but there's still pockets of evil, and then we just kind of let our own movement turn into its own Hollywood thing itself. We're not trying to build an empire. We're trying to save civilization and go to Mars and live assisted technologies and be a competitive society to have healthy kids in a future. And so that's a long statement. What I'm kind of saying is I don't want what we saw in the first administration creep back in. And I'm not really seeing that. I'm seeing some signs of it. And I don't want to sit there and agree with, MSNBC hosts going, look at Governor Nome and her Arnold Schwarzenegger commando outfit. But at the same time, I know a lot of military people and Border Patrol that, are irritated by that themselves, because this is not a game. This is not a joke.
Right. I think the future for the right and the Republican Party is to focus on our youth, the cruel kids at the table. These people are much more savvy than us with social media and the internet, which defines the American conversation. They're cool. They're funny, like Red Scare, Dasha and Anna, those girls in that scene, that picture you showed is the future of the Republicans. And to sleep on that and forget about how effective and savvy they are will be our death knell. You know, the guys who got Trump elected, you said I helped
What?
at the beginning of the show, and I'm sure that's true, but who really pushed him over the edge is these kids that no one's seen.
Yeah.
They're predominantly white. They're mostly Christian. You know, they don't drink that much. They're like 18 to 22. And the only time you saw them during up the election was that one kid who was screaming at the mayor of, was it Philadelphia? I forget the town, but he was, the mayor was trying to play with the barricades to stop people from having this Trump rally. And this guy was probably 19. He was tearing the mayor a new ass. And I met these kids. I hung out with them. They didn't want to party as much as I did. And they were working like 19-hour days, nonstop the whole time. They set up MSG. They set up all the rallies. They're the ones behind the scenes. And they were workaholics who got that, made sure that the trains run on time during that campaign. And these cruel kids at the table are our future. And we have to sort of humble ourselves and say, hey, you guys are winning the culture war. What should we do? Yeah, that guy.
Well, they're also...
That's who got Trump elected.
And we'll play that clip in a moment because I want to play that before we end this. But we can't underestimate that still they might put a hoax out that works, at least on some people, like saying Trump blocking $3 trillion of slush funds that was for NGOs and all this, none of it to individuals. The 50 million for Magnum condoms to Gaza, that's like the shrimp on treadmill things, 15 million. I mean, that's a real story from decades ago. But
yeah,
if you're looking at this, even in the hearings today, and I've only watched part of it live, I saw them twice say, you're going to, Trump has just cut Medicare, Medicaid, all this stuff. That has nothing to do with what he did. It's a lie. I was watching Fox last night on the 5. They had that Democrat woman, the brunette, whatever her name is, saying the same thing. And they corrected her, but she just acted stupid. And they're literally just trying to scare people. And so I'm wondering if that's going to work.
Well, that's the beauty of these youngsters. They laugh at that. They don't sit there and try to explain it. They just go, yeah, that's a lie. And you're seeing J.D. Vance say that's a lie. Tom Homan, he was in an interview and they said, you know, Biden deported 10,000 illegals. And he goes, no, that was, see, again, you have to know the origin of their lie. He goes, no, that was border guards at the fence saying turn around. They never even got in the country. We're talking about deporting people in Chicago and Seattle and Vegas. To stand at the border and say no doesn't count as a deportation. So when you hear that he's canceling aid for vets, this is what the left has been doing for arguably since Martin Luther King's assassination. It's been half a century of this Marxist propaganda from the Frankfurt School, but it's finally died. It finally died on January 20th. So when you see these lies, you just can assume it's false. And the beauty of something like X is we are the media now. And you tune into Andy No, and he tells you about a trans terrorist cell, I think they're called Ziz, that murdered that border guard at the border. And you go, the media's not telling me about this. I'm not listening to your crap about Trump is banning vets from getting health care or any kind of aid. I don't believe you about that. But I'll listen to this citizen journalist telling me about a trans terrorist cell. I can see the evidence in the Post.
I was hiking this morning out in the mist and rain with my oldest daughter and Sean Johnson, my buddy, and there's nobody out there. And through the mist comes 2 trans creatures, and they were and they looked like school shooters. They were both scary looking. They weren't trying to look scary. They look scary. And how is that a man that looks like a woman who wants to look like that? Fine. I'm not attacking them. The point is that what it's morphed into and the super high violence rate and suicide rate because of the system they're in, not us, not accepting it, and then most of the new school shooters and others being from this group, and they obviously knew who I was and got really upset and were like looking at me. We walked by them like they wanted to kill me, and I mean, this one guy looked like a buzzard or something. I mean, he was frightening. I mean, he could be a star in a horror movie, no makeup needed. And I'm just like, and you see these people, and it's beyond the black cloaked vampire types in the school shootings now. What would you call this group? Like, because I mean, it's got to be studied. It's scary.
But we've always had these weird tranny freaks. We've always had drag queens and transvestites, and it was fashionable, you know, with New York Dolls and David Bowie and stuff. They never demanded that you gave a crap about them. This is almost like punk rockers saying, you know, I'm an anarcho-punk, and you should use my terms and respect that I like Crass and other anarchist punk bands, and I don't like The Exploited, and you should, you know, respect that I wear a leather jacket with studs on it. Like, go bananas. We're not participating now. And it used to work, but as I say, in the golden age, when the trannies go, you have to respect who I am, I'm like, no. Well,
Here's an example in closing. And I remember I had like a member of parliament on 15 years ago on the show, and I didn't really understand all of this then. And he goes, listen, he goes, over half the kids that they're transitioning are seriously autistic. And he went into the vaccines and the shots and all of it. Clearly that's connected. So I think a lot of this is autistic young boys that get sucked in. We know that's who they're targeting. And then they get really dark because now they're on hormones and they're isolated and they get more freakish. And then they get mad at society because their psychological handlers tell them you're not happy because the rest of society is rejecting you. And so instead of getting out of the cult, they get deeper. And then instead of committing suicide, they say, I'm going to go out and kill people.
Yeah, and the drugs, the estrogen drugs affecting their psychosis. And it's autistic boys, but it's also autistic girls. And what do autists feel? They don't feel right in their body. They feel like robots. They feel unusual. They see the rest of us joking around and giggling and flirting, and they go, you seem so human. I want to be you. I need to fix this. Maybe I'm in the wrong body. That is perverted into this grotesque mutilation. Chopping off your breasts is, you look like you survived World War I.
And doesn't it go back to none of the rites of passage? You need to be in fistfights. You need to be in competitive sports. Everybody's uncomfortable in their bodies when they're younger. It's going through trials that makes you become stronger.
The best thing the radical left could understand is we don't care about you. I'm not homophobic. I'm homo-apathetic. I don't think about trans or gays ever. Now, Drag Queen Story Hour, cutting off to getting involved in kids, I'm obviously going to get involved. Demanding I use your terms, I'm obviously going to refuse. Demanding that you get to change with my daughter in the changing room, I'm obviously going to get involved. But outside of that, which you didn't used to do, by the way, you don't cross my mind. You might as well ask a rural Chinese person what they think about Jews.
No, I totally agree. But I mean, the larger issue is the atrazine does it to birds and frogs and fish, and it does it to mammals. It's always been there, but it's increasing because they're mutants. And they've been bent and they're confused, and the system knows that and comes and says, we'll twist you even more. Everybody should check out your show. Everybody does. And everybody should go to censored.tv and follow you on X as well. Gavin, we love you. We appreciate you. You're one of the greatest thinkers out there, and I can't wait to see you in person soon.
Thanks for having me, Alex. I'll definitely hook up with you when I'm in Austin next. And Compound Censored is on Twitter, but I'm still banned. Gavin_McInnes, still banned, still too controversial.
Wait a minute, you're still banned on X?
Yeah, my company's in, but Gavin personally, I had 250,000 followers, and Elon thinks I'm too controversial.
I don't think it's come to his attention. In fact, I'm going to put a video out about this. Like,
please do.
Naomi Wolf had her thing hacked and taken, and it took him a week. But when we talked about it, fired the bat signal. Listen, everybody needs to contact Elon and nicely say, hey, Gavin has been set up. He's a good guy, just like Alex Jones. Please bring him back now. I'm
a funny guy. I'm a moderate.
That's why they're scared of you, because you wake people up. Gavin, talk to you soon.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, Joe Biggs. I believe this is his first interview. He called us the night he got out and said, look, I'm just too freaked out. I got to see my daughter, family in Florida. But as soon as I'm ready, I'll come on you first. So I think if he'd been on a show, we'd know. But I believe it's his first interview. True political prisoner, true deep state hostage. It's like he's been in, a North Korean or North Vietnamese torture chamber, literally, the last 3 years, and all the hell he's been through. A good friend of mine. He's coming up, and we got more excerpts. Oh, boy, I got a couple clips we're going to play before he comes on. Remember, the way we dominate the globalists in the fight and push this victory to total victory is you take the live links at Real Alex Jones and you share it. You take the videos we post and reports and you share it. The globalists feared this show. They openly said 10 years ago in the Financial Times of London, New York Times, if Jones continues, it'll bring down the whole liberal order. And guess what? It's here. It's not because of who I am. It's you, the activist listeners, that boost it all, that amplify it. I'm just the detonator with my guests and callers and all of us together. But I need your help, word of mouth. Let's keep going. Let's keep fighting. Let's push this over the top. Let's not give the enemy a rest. Let's rout them, vanquish them, crush them, annihilate them culturally and their evil satanic system now. And I need your support, plus their incredible products. If you think my information's game-changing and amongst the most accurate in the world, the products are sensational. TheAlexJonesStore.com. You want the ultimate CMOS, Iris CMOS, and that's just one concentrated ingredient. Your cells gobble it up. What it does is insane. I'm on it right now. I gobble it. And believe me, you feel it immediately, but in a few weeks, the iodine kicks in. It just gets better and better. It just cleans out everything, goes after the fluoride, removes it. I mean, it goes into your pineal gland. Get it. Ultimate CMOS gummies, back in stock. The powder capsules, even stronger. They're back in stock. The Ultimate Turmeric Formula is the strongest concentrated turmeric out there. And it's got the strongest concentrate of ginger. And it goes on and on. It's all there at TheAlexJonesStore.com, the widest selection of Patriot apparel. Become a VIP member for $30 a month. Cancel any time and get $40 to spend each month at the store. Special deals, special sales, and special offers for items only available to you. If you want to support the broadcast, then get in there and become a member. It reminds you, get special deals, cancel any time, form a relationship with us even stronger. Get off the bench, get in the game, fund the tip of the spear, and get great products at the same time that make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Support the InfoWar now. And I'm not bragging.
Your
it's just
mic
that
is a
I
piece
didn't
of
believe in Santa
shit.
Claus at 2.5, and nobody had to tell me. I'm not bragging here, but not everybody's family found in Texas. Again, I'm not bragging to say that things I've coined become popular parlance. I'm not bragging, but aren't those some big pecs? I'm not bragging when Jeff Bridges calls me. I knew Vladimir Putin listened on a routine basis. That's not bragging. I'm not bragging. I really have read thousands of books. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not some pseudo-intellectual here. I'm not bragging, and I'm not bragging. I mean, it's a fact, folks. I can think 50 levels up, okay? And I'm not bragging saying I'm Mr. Cool. The only reason I've always been the coolest guy around, when I was 12, and I'm not bragging, this is a normal behavior, I was going after women. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I was 14 dating college chicks. I'm not bragging. I can't help it. I start just saying, here's $50 bills. You ladies all have whatever you want. This is big mojo, okay? I mean, I'm not bragging. I just want you to get the newsflash here. I am the person that popularized the term false flag. The truth is, I'm extremely vicious. Yeah, I'm not bragging. A lot of men are like that, but I mean, I'm crazy. I mean, it's, I got tricks 1,000 times more vicious. The problem is, I don't want to release this stuff on the earth, and I'm not bragging. I'm like a gorilla. I'm not bragging. I mean, it's like a war machine if I get in a fight. I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging, but I would literally have just absolutely devastated all those people in about 10 seconds. If I was to hit somebody 20 times, they'd probably die. I can punch pretty hard, not bragging. I'm not bragging. I'm just an average guy, but I got in fights in high school. Punch me, I punch you back. And then I slam your head in the concrete. I'm not bragging, but Ultimate CMOS is back in stock at TheAlexJonesStore.com, and it helped me lose 60 pounds. Got on the scales this morning. I've now lost 60 pounds from my all-time gigantor size of 289. 60 pounds. The ultimate superfood. CMOS, the ultimate super nutrient, the strongest CMOS out there. Available now at TheAlexJonesStore.com. It really works. It's amazing. We've got the strongest, and I'm not bragging. Bladder wrack and burdock root. Those aren't very sexy names, but what they do as superfoods is amazing. Then you add that to the superfood, Irish CMOS, and you are talking about glowing skin, weight loss, mental clarity, focus, boosted immune system. All your electrochemical systems just operate in such a smooth way. That's why in the last 3 or 4 months, I've lost so much weight. I was already exercising. I was already taking some of the other supplements, but I was eating too much and I wasn't getting some of the other key nutrients I needed. And I'm telling you, when I got on Ultimate CMOS from the AlexJonesStore.com, I saw dramatic effects, and I religiously take 2 capsules a day. That's the recommended amount, and that's the equivalent of 40 grams of Irish CMOS concentrated And then you get the other superfoods in there as well. And it would take me 10 minutes to just break down what the other ingredients do. But please research these ingredients for yourself and find out why this is such an amazing formula. And there's other ingredients as well. It's real simple. We go out and find the most powerful synergistic formulas of the ingredients that are known to supercharge people's lives. And the energy I get from Ultimate CMOS, or this formula, again, it's not just the CMOS, is insane. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing product. You've seen the changes that it's helped me have in my life. I want you to experience this for yourself with moderate exercise, drinking plenty of water, getting some sunshine. You put all this together, and I'm telling you, this formula, Ultimate CMOS, will take you over the top. Get yours today at thealexjonesstore.com. It's discounted right now, and your purchase keeps the broadcast on the air. Thanks for your support. Now get your Ultimate CMOS right now. Trump busted him out. We put Trump in. We busted Trump out. They're going to throw his ass in prison. All right, I'm just going to go to Joe Biggs right now, even though 450 plus radio stations don't come to us till 6 after. The RFK hearings are incredible. We got highlights of that, ongoing coverage. This is incredible. But Joe Biggs, former InfoWars reporter, decorated Army soldier, totally set up. I followed the trial. I followed all of it with not just the Proud Boys. No seditious conspiracy, totally made up. They tried to put me in prison, made me testify to Congress, put Owen in prison. Joe, it is so good to see you, my friend. Wow, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I honestly, I didn't think that I was going to be getting out anytime soon. You know, I've been put through mental gymnastics like you can never even imagine. You know, and it's been a journey.
Hello.
You know, it didn't break me though. I'll tell you that. It made me stronger, and it's made me appreciate life a lot more. You know, a lot of people ask me if I regret, you know, what happened, and you know, I regret the time that I missed with my daughter, but I don't regret the experience that I have been through. As bad as it has been, I've learned a lot from it, and I think it's made me a better person. So I'm here, and my spirits are high, and I thank God every day for what's happened, and I'm ready to talk about it, and I'm ready to educate people on this broken system that we have, that is the BOP and the DOJ and the FBI, as someone who's seen it from the ground up. And you know, there's so much corruption and there's so much evil that courses through the veins of our so-called justice system. And I'm excited for this opportunity to have a platform to expose it and to be a voice for a lot of the men that are innocently in jail and have been in jail for years. I've had the opportunity to sit down with people who have been thrown in prison and never even convicted or tried and have been there for 30 years. I've seen people that have been convicted of murder, and the judge even saw that the evidence pointed at another individual, and because he just felt in his heart that the guy that he had in front of him was the innocent or the guilty person, throws that person in jail forever, even though the evidence would point in another direction. You know, we need to help a lot of these guys. It's not just J6ers who are, have been screwed over. I've had the last 4 years to meet some really good men who have just had the worst possible luck, and our corrupt government has destroyed their lives. And it amazes me that these men can still be godly men and still be positive and uplifting. And that's what is going to motivate me from here on out. I'm going to dedicate my life from here on out to the men that I met that are still stuck in there, still trying to get out. And I'm going to do everything I can to fight for them.
And we're going to talk about some of those people coming up, like Jeremy Brown, who is a hero, but he's also, they tried to, as you know, come to him and the FBI, get him to set up J6ers before it. He recorded them. Then he went to J6 to warn people, did nothing violent, and then he's convicted, set up in Florida, but not for J6. Trump's got to pardon him. But Joe, I got to say, your hair is grayer, so's mine. But you look overall younger, skin-wise, skeletal-wise. Your eyes were always bright, but even brighter. You look like a 2.0 here.
Well, when you're in solitary confinement, you don't really get any sun. I was in solitary for 2 years, so there's a joke in prison. Whatever age you go into jail, you'll stay that way until you get out because you're not exposed to the sunlight. I'm sitting there in the dark, with nothing but walls to stare at day in and day out. I did nothing but read books. I've read.
Oh, stay right there, Joe. Joe, stay right there. We love you. 60 seconds. We'll be right back with Joe Biggs. Well, this is an exclusive interview with Joe Biggs, former InfoWars reporter, decorated Army soldier, and former J6 hostage. And I followed the case with him and also the Oath Keepers. I was there that day. They were worried about Antifa attacking. They were there to be defensive. They were totally set up. No evidence in court. No nothing. Kangaroo courts. And then Trump just said, screw it, I'm pardoning them all when they wanted to investigate each case. It was a setup, a Fedsurrection. And now Joe Biggs joins us. And we can go anywhere with this. And I want to talk about your case and the other political prisoners still, and got all the time that you can give us here today, Joe, one of the leaders of the Proud Boys. But wow, what was it like? Imagine the suspense for you, because Trump had promised to pardon everybody. And then we know he's a man of his word. Them trying to kill him. What was that like when you learned of it? Then the campaign, then him winning. Then the 76 days of knowing they'd try to stop him getting in, and then he gets in, and now we're 9 days in, and he's just delivering big time. I mean, those are my opinions, but we can go wherever you want. But I would like you, at some point, if not now, to just talk about what it was like in there, because the suspense, for me, was incredible, because our whole future hangs in the balance, but for you, it was 100% clear, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody would come up to me and be like, what is it like to have your life dependent upon an election like this? Especially, when so many people were sure that the election was stolen the last time that I met in jail. This is coming from inmates and COs and stuff like that. Everyone said that there's no way that Trump lost that last election. And, they would come up to me and be like, man, it's got to be frightening to know that your future lies at the hands of a corrupt system, because obviously Trump can beat Kamala Harris hands down, but are they going to let it happen? Are they going to cheat? So it was frightening. It was, my hair has gotten a lot whiter. That there's a lot of stress that goes on. There's a lot of stress that goes on when you're in prison already on top of that. So just having that, I'll never forget the day that the rally was happening, though, in Pennsylvania. I actually didn't know that was going on. We were on lockdown, and I'd been probably stuck in my cell for going on a month. And we finally got the TV turned on, and I see Trump out there at a rally speaking. And then I look away, and then when I look back, I see everybody around him, and they're like around somebody, and they're moving. And I look at my cellie, and I go, man, there must be some dumb guy in there trying to start something. They're pulling that guy out of there. I guarantee you the Secret Service is going to beat that dude up. And then it goes, breaking news, President Trump assassinated, or something like that. And I go, what? And it goes back to a replay, and it shows him drop down to the ground. And I literally screamed. My knees gave out, and I was like, and I fell down, and my cellmate goes, what is going on? And I go, oh my God. I said, they just killed him. I said, no, please, God, don't let this guy die. It's my only way home. Man, I was so scared. I'm so...
Joe, take your time. This is so powerful. Go back to that moment again, millisecond to millisecond. You know your future, literally, of justice and wronged and the lies and the fraudulent, everything's hanging in the balance on this man and the American people rallying behind him. And then, they're announcing he's been killed. And then when they knew they failed, they said, oh, no, he wasn't killed. He wasn't shot at. And Google, a month and a half later, wouldn't even say it happened. So, they were really intending to get him that day. Go back to that moment.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I mean, it was a horrible day for me. Everybody came up to me throughout the day. and asking, like checking on me, when they would walk by the cell. Hey, man, hey, what's going on? Do you have any more updates? Do you know what's going on? Have you seen anything? Or people come up and tell me, hey, I think he's okay. So there was a lot of support. But I'll tell you, when I saw that replay and I saw him grab his head and drop to the ground, I sank down to my knees and I thought that was it. I thought my life was over. I thought that was it. And it was frightening.
What was it like?
Very scary.
What was it like a minute later when he popped back up?
When I saw him put up his fists and start going fight, 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 that gave me so much motivation to keep fighting. It really did.
And then the cliffhanger just continues with the
I'm just glad.
with the campaign trying to kill him in Florida. What was that like?
Yeah, I was actually on the phone with my mom at that time, and she goes, "Oh my God, they just tried to kill him again." And I said, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, at the golf course in Florida." And I was like, "The one that I go to all the time, or I used to go to all the time?" And she was like, "Yeah." I go, "Oh my gosh, like what is going on here?" I just every day I was so scared to even look at the news. After that, I stopped watching TV because I knew that I was going to see up there that someone killed him. And that was it. My daughter would never see her father. And it just,
All right, I'll be back.
I was so stressed out every day. It was horrible.
Well, I know
And then on
you're a
top of
decorated
that,
combat veteran in multiple countries, but I think it's fair to say Trump is a combat veteran of the deep state and really deserves a Purple Heart. And we've all been under the COVID attack. What was it like being locked up during that? I mean, it just goes on and on. And then now we're winning. We're taking the country back, but the war's not won yet. I think that's my most important message is we're winning, but we have not won the final war yet, and our enemies could still try to kill Trump.
yeah, I mean, we're lucky that it's only been, 2 losers that they've just used kind of brainwashed. But what happens when they actually send someone that's an actual trained killer? We're not in the clear, like you said. He's got to remain vigilant. I hope that his secret service detail remains vigilant. I hope that everybody's continuing to pray for President Trump and Pete Hegseth and all these other men that are being brought into the fold right now and learning the new jobs and roles. I pray that these men are guided by God and given the wisdom that they need to make good decisions for our country and for us. And I pray that Cash Patel can get in. I don't even know what's happened with that, to be honest. I don't know if he's been approved yet or not, but I hope that he can get into the FBI and do something because that is such a corrupt organization. I played Xbox with a guy online, and because I played Xbox with this guy online, after I was arrested, the FBI kicked in this door and about gave him a heart attack. An older man I'd never even met before, a nice guy, and they came in and harassed him and about killed him just from a heart attack. He was so scared because they were threatening him. This happened to almost so many people that I knew. FBI agents coming up to red lights and stopping it and going, "Hey, man, what do you know about January 6th? What do you know about these plans? What do you know about this or that?" And that kind of stuff happened to everybody. So I got scared when I heard that after about the first year, and I just stopped talking to people. And I apologize to everybody out there that I shut out, but I just didn't want people to have to go through what I've been through and what some of these other people. So I just kind of put it on my shoulders and just dealt with it, for a long time, kind of on my own, and just with the help of my mom and daughter. I didn't want people to be messed with because I can tell you it's not fun.
And speaking of the media saying Trump needs to die and he's Hitler trying to get crazies to kill him, that's still one of the big threats. Breaking, man with Molotov cocktails arrested for murder plot against Trump cabinet members at the Capitol, including Pete Hegseth, now confirmed the Secretary of Defense. The Kash Patel confirmation, Tulsi Gabbard, those are coming up in the next few days. We'll be tracking all of that. But I remember you called the night you got out last week to Darren McBreen, and then he told me, and you said, "Listen, I'll come on as soon as I can see my daughter, and I'm in shock right now." And I totally respect that, and you're gracious to be here with us. But What was it like when he won on election night? And then what was it like when you heard that there was the commutationer pardon? What were those moments like? And then what was it like when you actually got out of prison? And then what was it like when you saw your daughter again?
I've become so untrusting, and I hate myself for that. I just don't trust stuff anymore. I didn't think that even that he won that I would ever get out. I just, in my mind, that I've been screwed over so much, and I've been lied about so much, and the government has done everything they can and spent so much money to ruin my life. I just lost a lot of the hope in a sense that anything good could ever happen to me. And when Trump won, I still didn't think that anything good could happen. I was like, I'm going to get lost in the system somehow, and it probably won't happen. And then, I get out, and then they go, all right, you're not getting a pardon, you're just getting your sentence commuted. And you also have to do probation. So, it's not been easy, and it's hard for me to trust the government in any kind of way anymore now. I've got so much PTSD from that alone.
Are they really?
And they would talk about
you and infertility. They're getting ready to pull that out. So much is happening. We're having
angle about why they think that.
Please go to the AlexJonesStore.com. We have the great atomic defense, the strongest, greatest, concentrated.
The silent majority.
Actual foreign agent caught in the Senate taking money. Shh, it's a Democrat. Shh, shh. We don't want anybody to know about the name Bob Menendez. Or maybe some of these other Democrats that just got caught in Florida. Big LGBTQ rights activists arrested in Florida. What do you think that's about? We'll tell you that as well. And, I mean, just all kinds of political drama. Man charged with carrying Molotov cocktails, trying to target Trump's cabinet. Again, if these were Democrats being targeted, it'd be the top news story. But since it's Republicans, they just bury it. Well, not here. We give you the full news. All right, we've got a very busy day today, and I want to jump right in to the RFK Jr. hearings. Thank you. In this first segment, I forgot this funniness my crew just brought me. Well, we'll make an announcement and we'll have some fun later. With some things just got revealed going back to 2020 that will make you keel over laughing as they did me. And we're going to get more information. I have an announcement on it, but I want to go right in. Got a lot of political news today. I want to go right into the RFK Jr. hearings. I will also tell you, and I'm kind of beginning this process. You heard from Joe Biggs earlier today on the Alex Jones Show. That was fantastic. We've already had Enrique Tarrio on as well, Stuart Rhodes and others. And as I've been saying, I've been speaking to a lot of January 6th defendants who are just kind of getting back acclimated to life, people that have been spending a lot of time in prison because of the political persecution, just getting back acclimated to life, just spending time with friends and family. They're starting to open up to do some interviews. And so I'm going to start these profile pieces today, really, of January 6th defendants that you likely have never even heard of. And we'll hear their stories, their, series of events from that day, what they saw, what they heard, how it went down, and then ultimately the legal battle that wound them up in prison. So we're going to kind of start that today, and I'm going to be doing these profiles. We're not going to it's not going to be too much extended. We have too much news to cover, but just kind of condensed 10, 15-minute profile pieces on January 6th defendants so you can hear from these people. You can hear their stories. You can hear what they went through. You can hear the truth about that day, the justice system, and maybe we can kind of spur this into more awareness of the criminal justice reform that we need and the Bureau of Prisons reform that we need. We talked to Bevelyn Beatty, similar experiences from her. The things Joe Biggs was talking about earlier today, the exact same things that I witnessed that he's talking about. So these are rampant issues inside the system. So we're going to kind of use these profile pieces to expose this, and maybe we can get something done when it comes to criminal justice reform and Bureau of Prison reform, which is long overdue. Long overdue. So tons of stuff to cover. We're going to start that process today as well. As I said, I'm talking to a lot of these defendants. We got a couple coming on today as we'll begin these profiles. Now, let's just jump right in. Let's give it the lead today, which is the RFK Jr. hearings. And we're going to kind of do this in reverse because I'm going to actually play RFK's opening statements last. I'm going to go to some of these clips first with the back and forth. But just know this. A lot of good commentary came out of this as far as good debate and spirited debate and conversation. Then you had your big pharma lobbyist-owned senators who want to pretend like they're fighting big pharma. You go open the books, they're making tens of thousands of dollars, in some cases hundreds of thousands, from big pharma. And they were the ones going the hardest after RFK Jr. And then you say, oh, well, that makes sense. These are talking points. These are questions coming right from their big pharma handlers, right from their big pharma donors. These are crocodile tears. This is synthetic outrage directed at RFK Jr. Now, RFK was a little more, let's say he didn't go off the beaten path too much. He didn't go off the beaten path too much as far as truth bombs were concerned, but he did bring up some good issues and just fair questions that the American people should have. But ultimately, RFK Jr. will be confirmed. Now, they might try to delay this process. Some of the Democrats were saying, oh, we need more time to grill him and question him. I don't think it's going to take. I expect RFK Jr. will be confirmed probably next week. We shall see. But that would be my guess. But he will be confirmed, I do believe. So let's get into some of these clips. Here he is talking about one of his main approaches to HHS in clip 10.
My approach to administration HHS will be radical transparency. If members of this committee or other members of Congress want information, the doors are open. I've spent many years litigating against NIH and its sub-agencies, HHS and its sub-agencies, NIH, CDC, FDA, on FOIA issues, trying to get information that we, the taxpayers, paid for, and oftentimes getting back redacted copies after a year or 2 years of litigation. That should not be the case. And if Congress asks me for information, you will get it immediately.
Now, he went on to explain in his process of filing FOIA requests how he'd get the FOIA requests fulfilled, and then they would send him, for example, specifically with Anthony Fauci, they'd send him 30,000 Anthony Fauci emails, and everything would be redacted. So it's like, oh, okay, here's your Freedom of Information request, and then they just send you 30,000 empty pages and pretend like they fulfilled the request. So if I'm reading between the lines, what is he really saying? He's saying when we deal with FOIA requests or anybody coming to us for information, you're going to get the information. Maybe he's even thinking about something specific when he's talking about this. Maybe it is Anthony Fauci. Maybe it is some of the gain-of-function research and some of the other things that are being funded. Some of the other agenda items that go through HHS and everything else beneath it and all these other medical bureaucracies. So even though it was a generic statement, maybe I'm reading between the lines. Maybe he's saying, hey, you want the dirt on Fauci? Hey, you want the dirt on all the corruption that goes on here? Hey, you want to look under the hood of this monstrosity? I'm going to give it to you. So that's kind of how I took it. That's kind of how I took it. Now, here he is. Here he is talking about why the U.S. You know what? That's his opening statement. We'll go to that later. Just instead, give me clip 11.
Well, let me ask you this then, because you keep citing the Trump administration and you're just going to follow what they say. Is that what you're doing? You're just a rubber stamp for them in this position? So anybody, so it doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming before us as long as they're a rubber stamp for this administration and disregarding your beliefs and what you think. I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward,
You want me to
knowing
answer
that
the
it's going to
question,
harm
Senator?
Americans? Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay. President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And I'm
So
in a
is that the
unique
only reason
position.
why you're at HHS? Is that the
Excuse
only
me?
reason why then you're at the HHS to address that one issue?
President Trump has asked me because I'm in a unique position to end that. And that is what I'm doing. And if we don't solve that problem, Senator, all of the other disputes we have about who's paying, and whether it's insurance companies, whether it's providers, whether it's HMOs, whether it's patients or families, all of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking. Our 60% increase in Medicaid over the past 4 years is the biggest budget line now, and it's growing faster than any other. And no other nation in the world has what we have here. No other nation has a chronic disease.
Nice dog.
We
You
have
can't
the
find
highest
the
chronic
peace.
disease burden of any country in the world. We had, during COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in a country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had a higher death count than any country in the world. And when CDC was asked why, they said it's because Americans are the sickest people on earth. The average person who died from COVID, American, had 3.8 chronic diseases. This is an existential threat economically, to our military, to our health, to our sense of well-being. And it is a priority for President Trump. And that's why he asked me to run the agency. And if I'm privileged to be confirmed, that's exactly what I'll do.
Now, that was one of the bigger truth bombs right there. And he expanded on that during his opening statement, which we'll play later. A couple other things to mention. Yeah, the catty, newly elected senator from Nevada, Masto Cortez, boy, she went awfully silent there, didn't she? You know, I totally respect RFK Jr., and he is not afraid of debating any of these issues. And I relate to it because it happens all the time in politics. You have people that think they're smarter than you. They think they're the smartest people in the room. And they think that they can somehow pin you down with political correctness or trick questions or outsmart you or outmaneuver you.
Shit.
Because they're in a better political class than you. And then you actually get into the ring and present the facts, the information, the arguments, and they get exposed. That is an empty suit. The Democrat senator from Nevada, she tried so hard to pin Kennedy down during her time, and she just got slapped around like the empty suit that she is. You are not intelligent. You are not intellectual. You don't know anything about these health issues. And RFK Jr. just schooled you and dropped major truth bombs to the American people. And you thought you were going to have the edge going in against the guy who's been doing this research and focused his life on this for decades. And it's worth
Holy big.
Mentioning, I don't know if there's ever been more organic support. Maybe Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth had a ton of support in that room and outside. There was a line of people, hundreds of people outside the room there in support of RFK Jr. They couldn't get into the room. Now, he had a lot of people supporting him in the room, some big name people, some heavy hitters. You can see them in the background there, including his wife. The food babe was there. Megyn Kelly was there. Other big name people that have been part of the health movement, the Make America Healthy Again movement before MAHA was even formed. People that have been coming on InfoWars for years. So these people are the real deal. He's got a real organic support system behind him. And I don't know if there's ever been a confirmation hearing where there were multiple rounds of applause by the individual who's been nominated
Nom, nom,
for the
nom.
individual that's been nominated, like we saw today. So that happened multiple times. You got a little taste of it there. Worth mentioning. Now, here's Elizabeth Warren, who's bought and paid for by big pharmaceutical lobbyists. We have the records. We can show you some of them. She went totally unhinged. This woman is completely unhinged. I mean, truly an unhinged freak. Elizabeth Warren, clip 12.
You financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it.
Nice.
Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule.
Now, that's just a taste of that unhinged dingbat, Elizabeth Warren. Oh, she wants to get down to the truth. She wants people to understand. I mean, anybody can go to the Open Secrets records. Anybody can go to Elizabeth Warren's own webpage and find out she's the one lobbying for Big Pharma. She's the one getting massive checks cut from Big Pharma. This is from her own website. Elizabeth Warren renews fight to strengthen U.S. pharmaceutical manufacturing capacity. Well, how about that? How about Open Secrets? Top 20 member recipients of money from pharmaceutical companies. Elizabeth Warren, number 2 in this list, only to Bernie Sanders. Oh, yeah. Don't worry, we'll be hearing from him next. And you can go into the Open Secrets books, and you can see all the different pharmaceutical lobbying groups that have paid Elizabeth Warren. And so why is she up there saying you should never sue a big pharma company? Oh, well, now you know why. Because they pay her to say that. And then she's going to point the finger at RFK Jr. like somehow he's bought and paid for it and he's the exact opposite? Incredible
So you're
stuff.
having meatballs
and then
with
when
macaroni?
he calls her out, she goes completely unhinged, off the rails, and starts screaming and shouting like the deranged lunatic that she is. There was, look, I could spend 10 minutes breaking down the millions of dollars Elizabeth Warren has taken from Big Pharma. It's not worth it. Show you a couple examples and explain why she becomes a complete unhinged lunatic. Because they own her. And the big pharmaceutical companies are scared of RFK Jr. He explains to Senator Ron Johnson, they had a very good exchange, by the way, but here he is explaining why the Democrats don't want him confirmed in clip 13.
From across the political spectrum. And all these Democrats are opposed to me for partisan issues. They used to be my friends. Agreed with me on all the environmental issues that I've been working on for my whole career. Now they're against me because anything that President Trump does, any decision he makes, has to be lampooned, derided, discredited, marginalized, vilified.
We need to move on. Senator Warren.
And he got into a lot of different issues with Senator Ron Johnson that certainly had the big pharmaceutical lobbies panicking, including the politicians that they own, like Bernie Sanders. He pretends like he's some anti-establishment guy. No. The millionaires and billionaires. Well, now he's a millionaire, so he just says the billionaires. This is a real debate. See, words have meaning. Democrats, liberals, they want to be able to just say things and you not question the meaning. It's why they constantly say, oh, well, Trump is against immigrants. Totally a lie. Nobody's against immigrants. We're against criminal illegal aliens. There's a total difference there, but words are supposed to have meanings. So healthcare is a human right. This is another thing that they love to just toss out there. Like, you're so bad if you're against vaccine mandates, or you're so bad if you're against whatever the government bureaucracies tell you to do about your health. You're so bad if you don't want government-funded, taxpayer-funded health care. It's a human right. So they love these things. They just want to be able to say words, and you don't even understand what they really mean. Healthcare is a human right. RFK Jr. pushes back on that. Clip 14.
Do you agree with me that the United States should join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Yes? No?
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Health care a human right? Is health care a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right,
Yeah.
I would say it's different, because if with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. And so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he didn't want to go on after that because he knew he was about to get schooled as his propaganda was failing. So is healthcare a human right? Well, what does that mean? Some nice buzzwords, some nice liberal, bleeding heart, liberal, feel-good propaganda.
Damn, you're on
what does it
number
actually mean?
64.
RFK Jr. was about to explain, well,
God damn.
how can you have a fair healthcare system as you see it?
Oh, so you're not, it's not
Somehow,
that long.
mythically, it's free, which is, of course, not, when some people are healthy and others aren't. How is healthcare a human right if I
So what, you're about like
have
a
to
tenth
pay
the
for
way
somebody
through?
that doesn't take care of their own health? What right is it for somebody to smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol every day or do drugs every day or never exercise and be obese? What right is it that they have that I have to pay for their health care? Of course, that's absurd. That's ludicrous. There's no right. You can't force somebody to pay for your health care. And then, of course, there's the larger issue. Health care as a human right. What does that mean? Well, I should be able to go to a doctor or go to a hospital or have a surgery or anything else, and it should be free. But, of course, it's not free. Who's going to pay for it? You should be able to go to the doctor and have a free surgery. These people go and they have surgeries and they come out with a big bill. So is the doctor a slave? The doctor, the nurses, the emergency medical teams, everything else, are they slaves? Should they just work for free then? Should they be slaves to this system? Sorry, healthcare cannot be a human right because it's not free. Now, you can't deny somebody health care. There's a Hippocratic oath. And we build hospitals. And we try to make it a situation where we want to have as many doctors as possible. We try to make health care accessible. But you cannot claim it's a human right because somebody has to pay for it. Somebody has to do your surgery. You cannot walk into a hospital and say, just do this surgery and do it for free. Slave doctor, slave nurse. You can't call an ambulance and say, come pick me up and take me to the hospital. My health care is a human right. No, you're going to get a bill for that. That emergency medical team is not your slave. Healthcare is a human right. What does it really mean? All right, we went long here. We're going to come back in here again. We'll play some of RFK Jr.'s opening statement as well as him responding to the question, is RFK Jr. a conspiracy theorist? That's coming up next. All right, we're going to hear RFK Jr.'s opening statement as well as his response to the question, are you a conspiracy theorist? And really, it was just a great hearing overall. A lot of truth bombs. RFK Jr. didn't give an inch. They tried to pin him down on multiple issues. He was fully prepared. He was fully honest. And then the Democrats just ended up exposing themselves as complete phonies. Oh, we're fighting Big Pharma. Oh, let's open the books. Oh, you've taken millions from Big Pharma. Isn't that interesting? That's why you really oppose RFK Jr. That's whose talking points you're really reading up there. Can't fool us. And then just the unhinged nature of these psychotics. Truly, the Democrat Party today is just, it's just, I mean, you look at these senators, it's just filled with psychotic lunatics. Elizabeth Warren, Mark Warner, Ron Wyden. I mean, these are genuine freaks. These are people you just, organically, you can just sense you don't want to be around them. You don't, you wouldn't sit next to them on a subway. You wouldn't let them babysit your kids, wouldn't want to accept their dinner invitations. Just, they have that vibe of, we don't want to be near them. Something's off. Something's significantly off. Pretty obvious when you see these hearings. Now, before we go to those clips, and I've talked about this before, and since it's kind of on topic today, really, my first big introduction to InfoWars, more so than just the politics, was the health news. And it's ironic to see the food babe, Vani Hari, sitting behind RFK Jr. during these hearings. She's used to go on InfoWars regularly a decade ago. And I was more into health and fitness and organics and stuff like that before I was even into politics. So getting the fluoride out of the water, talking about how Big Pharma owns the media, owns our Congress, dealing with stuff like that, organic food versus GMOs. I mean, that was really, I was more interested in that stuff tuning into InfoWars than I even was necessarily the politics, let's say 12 or so years ago, with guests like the Food Babe. And so InfoWars has always been consistent about this. And there's a reason why we sell health supplements. It's really a modern marvel. It's really a great breakthrough of science to say, hey, this is what's healthy in a blueberry. This is what's healthy in an orange. This is what's healthy in this food or that food. and then find a way to turn it into health supplements. So, well, you know, maybe I don't have the best diet, but I'm still getting my vitamins and minerals. So I'm not deficient. That's the scientific breakthrough. That's the modern marvel. That's why supplements are so popular. That's why you have now, it's this big trend. I mean, Ray Kurzweil, I'm no fan of his, but, you know, considered one of the smartest guys in
What the fuck was
technological engineering, takes like 86 supplements a day. You've got that famous tech billionaire who kind of gets a bad rap because he's a little awkward and just does some strange stuff, but he's always talking about all the supplements he takes. He's trying to live forever. So that's why we sell supplements. And we've always cared about your health. We've always seen the issues. We've always remained consistent. So for me to see somebody who's going to get in there that thinks like us, talks like us, sees the same problems that we see, RFK Jr., that's exciting. That's exciting. But we've been consistent on this forever. And we're always finding new ways to innovate. We're always finding new ways to deliver products that you like, that you get a health benefit from. And one of the most recent breakthroughs that we have at the AlexJonesStore.com is the Alex Jones Atomic Defense. Something has been going around. There's some bug going around. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people that were in D.C. got it. It knocked me out for a couple days. But it's definitely going around, and it hit some other people pretty bad. It hit some other people pretty bad for like more than a week, and it hit some other people so bad that they just couldn't even get out of bed. I was still able to come in here and do a show, and probably because I take all the supplements from the AlexJonesStore.com, including Alex Jones Atomic Defense. So my immune system was built up. I caught a little bug, was sick for about 48 hours or so, didn't have to miss a day of work, still had to travel. And I credit the products at the AlexJonesStore.com. I credit Alex Jones Atomic Defense. I had an immune system built up so I could fight off whatever it was I got quickly, effectively, and not have to be under the weather for too long.
Like
and
the
I'm hearing
underside
others
of
that are
it,
saying,
right?
man, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. I'm still sick.
Okay,
So that's what we do. We deliver great supplements at the AlexJonesStore.com. Alex Jones Atomic Defense right now, a 90-day supply. That'll get you through winter. 3 bottles. Get you through the winter season, the cold season, the flu season. 40% off a 90-day supply right now at the AlexJonesStore.com. That's just one of the great products. You got the Hydro Force drink mix that is also so important for your just daily health regimen. And don't forget as well, you want to talk about deficiency. So many people are iodine deficient. Survival Shield X2 is back in stock and on sale at InfoWarsStore.com. So 2 great places to take care of your health. The AlexJonesStore.com and InfoWarsStore.com. Survival Shield X2, nascent iodine, back in stock and on sale for a limited time. These 2 things are just necessary for your health supplement pantry in the winter months. And, of course, your support there keeps us on the air. All right, let's go to the question. Tom Tillis asks RFK Jr., are you a conspiracy theorist? Clip 15.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection.
Fuck.
When the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I
a
could
lot
go
of
on
those,
for about a
so
week.
is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory? Or are you in a
Not
position to submit for the record? I think it'd just be helpful
Not
for
yet.
every one of these narratives for you to submit that maybe for the record.
We are submitting it for the record here. We're submitting it for the congressional record. The HHS nominee, RFK Jr. confirmation hearing, conspiracy theorists were right. And for the record, not a thing the conspiracy theorists have claimed here so far in the health world has been disproven. In fact, everything has actually been proven correct. That's for the congressional record, by the way. For the congressional record. Quote unquote, conspiracy theorists were right and have yet to be proven wrong. Should we go on? He says, I could go on for a week. It's the comorbidities causing the COVID deaths. We were right. It's the protocols from Anthony Fauci that are causing the hospitals to have the 99% of the COVID deaths. We were right. The vaccines are going to have massive side effects. We were right. The vaccines won't be safe and effective. We were right. The COVID virus came from a lab in Wuhan, China. We were right. We can go on and on and on. And that's just about COVID. The masks are ineffective. We were right. 6 feet social distancing completely made up. We were right. For the congressional record. All right. I do believe RFK Jr. will be confirmed as the HHS secretary. It might be by the slim margin that Hegseth got by with. Might even require a tie-breaking vote. I do expect RFK Jr. to be confirmed, however. And I hope it's swift. I hope it's next week or by next week. Powerful opening statement that every American should listen to and support.